What's up, guys? We are finally ready to start reassembling our Cummins for the OG tow rig. If you guys look right here, we got an entire rebuild kit for this thing, and we are going through it top to bottom, every freaking gasket. She's going to be brand new, fresh, and it's going to be running better than ever. As you guys saw, the last update I had on this thing was we picked up a used bottom end from a subscriber. It was the easiest route for us because our crankshaft and rods were all trashed, so it was just easier for us to source an entire good bottom end so we didn't have to find each individual piece. We ended up getting everything in one kind of package deal. This is the block that we just got back from the machine shop. This one was a standard bore, whereas our old one was a 20 over, so it was kind of nice that we were able to start with a standard bore block and we didn't have to open up the old one even more. We could have done it that way, but we would have had to special order pistons, and it was just a little bit easier to get some off-the-shelf stuff with the standard bore. But we did end up punching it over 20 over because we did have some tapering at the bottom of the cylinders. So we quickly dropped this off at our friends over here in Brandon, Florida, Haynes Engine Works, and they got that knocked out for us really quick. So she is punched over. We got the matching 20 over pistons to go along with it. And this entire rebuild kit that you're looking at right here is from Industrial Injection. This comes with every single gasket and component that we need to completely rebuild the Cummins. There's more of it that you can't even see on the table here. It's a ton of stuff, but it came with the pistons, all the gaskets, the head gasket, the rings, bearings. We even got a new, what's this guy called, Wyatt?
That is an oil cooler.
The oil cooler right here, yep. Got all kinds of stuff, so we're ready to get this thing assembled, and I'm going to be kind of following Wyatt's lead here because he is my diesel guy, and thanks to him, we had these connections with these companies to help us, you know, get the best of the best for this thing and get her running right. And I want to give a huge shout out to you guys because we had so many people reach out wanting to help us with this. A lot of you guys had parts, and you know, it was just overwhelming. So we're gonna get this thing dialed, but I'm gonna follow Wyatt's lead here and kind of go from there. Where do we need to start, Wyatt?
Yeah, so we're going to go through the block one more time, just make sure it is completely clean of debris and ready to be assembled. Once that's done, we'll start gapping our piston rings for the new freshly honed cylinders, and then we'll put the rods on pistons, start assembling the crank, rods, all that stuff, and go from there. You know, it'll be pretty similar to any engine we build, just couple little things you got to keep an eye on with these that are a little different than some of the gasser stuff we do. A lot bigger, heavier, really simple setup though. These things are super easy to work on, luckily. There's just little things to keep an eye on with them.
And we're going to be reusing the old rods that came out of that good bottom end and the crankshaft as well.
Yep. So like Kyle said, instead of sourcing all that stuff individually, we got a good setup, a good rotating assembly out of this one. So we'll just be reusing that stuff and going together with it. Should go pretty smooth.
Well, oh yeah. I think the thing I'm most excited about is how clean everything is.
Yeah,
everything's
man.
nice and fresh. No more black soot and grime on everything.
Yeah. With how gross that other engine is, man. The thing that I do not miss about working on these things daily is just how gross they are. Just caked in soot and oil and diesel fuel. They were just horrible. So
and that stuff does not come off.
No.
I was gonna say, I touched your exhaust yesterday.
Yep.
Just the soot on your exhaust. I couldn't even wash it off my hand for like an hour.
It sticks with you for a week. It's horrible. So definitely happy to be away from that every day, but excited to be back working on one again. So this thing's going to be awesome. Like Kyle said, we partnered with a bunch of great companies to make this thing one badass rig. So I'm really looking forward to getting it in there, getting it running, and seeing what this thing does.
All right, well, Wyatt's getting the block cleaned out over there.
Yeah.
With his new tool.
Yeah, don't mind me.
Yeah, we lost a bolt in the MR2, so. But while he's getting that cleaned off, I'm going to go ahead and get the rods off of the old pistons here. And it does matter which way these are orientated on the piston. What is this pocket for, you said? That's for the oil squirter?
Yeah, so oil squirter down in the block, that's just clearance so it doesn't hit it when the piston's at the bottom dead center.
So we got to make sure these go back together in the right orientation.
So something cool that not a lot of the gasser stuff does, but diesels do, is you can actually see there's a pocket in the crown of this piston, and it actually goes all the way around, and it squirts oil up into this cutout deal and helps cool the top of the piston. So kind of cool. Like I said, very similar to gas
hard
stuff.
to see, but yeah, you can see those holes actually up in there.
But just weird little differences. So that's kind of one of the cool ones.
You guys check out the freaking wrist pin on this thing. I got the first one apart. This guy is beefy, dude.
I need those in the K series, dude. Legit.
That weighs more than my piston does.
I know. It's wild.
That is a big wrist pin.
Yep. It's also why these things will do 1,000 horsepower on a completely stock bottom end. So pretty impressive what you can do with these things.
I see we got some rings over here as well. What are we gapping those things to?
So we're gonna do 18 thou on the top ring and the oil ring, and then we're gonna go 28 thou on the secondary ring, and that's kind of splitting the difference on what Cummins Spec is for this setup, so it's kind of right in the middle of where we should be.
So you do want to check the oil ring on this one?
Yep, so the oil ring...
when we do the Honda motors, the oil rings you don't really have to mess with.
Yeah, so the oil rings on a Honda are smaller. Pretty much all gasoline engines are a much different design, but these ones can actually butt up because you can see how much more of a substantial ring that is. So
yeah, it's like all one piece too. That's pretty wild.
Yep, so it's got this outer deal, a case, and then it's got this expandable ring deal that goes inside of this. And so you just want to make sure to gap these, that way they can't butt up and, you know, destroy a ring.
Lock up in there.
Yep, so we'll just double check those. They're usually pretty loose, even in brand new packagings, but we're gonna go through, make sure that none of them are too tight, just to verify. But yeah, get these knocked out and start assembling all the rods and the pistons.
Cool, so we'll go through, get all the rings gapped, and we'll get all these rods off, start getting this thing together.
Yes, sir.
All right, we got all of the rings onto the new pistons, got all the rods cleaned off and attached to the new pistons as well. You can actually see the old bearings that came out of the rods, and they were in really good shape. So that's a good sign, but we just went ahead and got the main bearings, the 1/2 into the block here, and we are ready to set the crankshaft on top. And
Freaking gigantor over here.
yeah, big crankshaft over there. We had to use the dolly to get it in. Got that guy cleaned off as well. But we're gonna go ahead and set that down into the block here, and then we're going to double check the clearances with some plastic gauge. We'll put a little piece on the top and tighten the caps down just to make sure that everything's looking good there.
Yep, it'll be plenty sufficient for this build. I mean, it's not like this thing's super crazy. So plastic gauge will give us a good indication of where we're at, and as long as that checks out, we can start going together with this thing.
Do we need to get some oil squirters to go right down there?
Yeah, we'll put those in after we check this, because the crank's got to come back out so we can pre-lubricate it and then reinstall it. So we'll do those after that, and then we got to put the tappets in too and the camshaft before we flip all that
What are
back
the
over.
tappets?
The tappets are like a lifter in a standard
okay, yeah.
like push rod motor, but these use a tappet style. So
Yeah, I remember you saying that last time. I just forgot what part that was.
yep, so they just ride on the camshaft to push on the push rod. So pretty simple deal, but we got to get those in here as well. But let's make sure the crank fits first.
Oh my God.
Yep, you good?
Yeah.
Heavy old girl.
All right, we got a little piece of plastic gauge in the middle and on both ends. So we're just gonna go ahead and get those caps on there, torque it down, and make sure everything's in spec. All right, we just torqued the caps down and then we unbolted everything. Sorry about the glare, but you can see the strip of plastic gauge on right there. And we are looking pretty good.
Yep, so based on our plastic gauge, we're right about 3 thou across the board, like 2.5 to 3 thou. And I believe spec is 2 to 3.5 thou. So we're right in the middle there. So we're good to go.
So now that we've confirmed the bearing clearances on the crankshaft, we got that guy pulled back out, and we can go ahead and get the tappets and oil squirters in. These did get a little bit of surface rust from sitting in a box in our container outside, but it just wipes off. So we're gonna go through, get all those guys nice and cleaned up, get them lubed up, and those guys are labeled which hole they came out of. So we'll go ahead and set all those back in, get the oil squirters cleaned out, and get those guys back in, and then we can set the crank down in for the final time after we get all this lubed up, and then we can get to getting the rods and pistons into the block. Big girl.
And we're done. Put it in the truck.
Do not flip the engine stand at this point.
Why not, bro? It could be fun. It could be like 52-piece pickup.
Only the OGs will remember that mistake I made on Wago. All right, the crankshaft is in, tappets are in, oil squirters are on. We're getting some of this front part put back together here. Got the bracket for the oil filter back on the side there, and right now while it's getting the cam all lubed up because we were getting ready to slide that guy in. We do have the other camshaft right here as well. This was the one that came out of the original engine, but this one definitely has a bit more wear on it compared to the one that came out of the fresher bottom end that we picked up for this thing. So we're going to use the same camshaft that was in this block when we got that complete short block. And yeah, once he gets her all lubed up over there, we can slide that in, and then we're able to get this thing flipped over, because right now if we flip it over, all those tappets will fall out of place. So we have to wait till we get that camshaft in there, and then we can get to getting those rods and pistons in from up top and keep going from there. But the crankshaft feels really nice. It spins nice and smooth, which is a great sign. So she is coming along, boys. Never have too much lube for your shaft, right?
Just had to go there.
And then did you just line the crank up there with this gear?
Yep, we'll line up once it's all in here. Like that. And just like so.
How did you get that yellow mark?
It's marked on the crank just very lightly.
Oh, there's already a mark on there?
Yeah.
And you just line that up in between? Pretty straightforward. Now that that's in there, we can move on to the pistons, right?
Yep, we can go ahead, slap them in there. Probably the next best thing to do. And then we'll start working on the accessory drive, oil pump, all that stuff. Start getting that knocked out. We'll have a complete short block here in just a few.
First piston is going in.
Nice.
Just like that. And just like how we did the crankshaft, we're also going to plasti gauge the rod bearings just to double check that those are the right size as well. And then we can get all those torqued down. Don't forget that.
Yeah, big important on these ones. Make sure the rod bolts are tight. So yeah, we'll get those knocked out, and then the short block will be pretty dang close.
Dang, look at that beauty.
What a unit, dude.
Just in time to go into the Cybertruck.
Perfect fit.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people saw the picture I took of this in front of the Cybertruck going its rounds on the internet.
Probably not from us, though, considering how many media outlets stole our photo.
It's fine.
Whatever.
You know, we might just have to get another wrecked Cybertruck and do it. Or do it to this one.
Come and swap it, dude. Make it actually cool.
It would be pretty sick.
Crazy.
But that Cybertruck's too nice, dude. We got to get it running first before we even consider that. This girl is for the Ram. We got it together.
All faithful here.
The phone died before you got to torquing those, but we can confirm the rod bolts have been torqued, even though it's not on video.
Double checked them.
Double checked. Everything is torqued to spec. What those torque to?
They torque with a torque to yield kind of deal, so it's 60 degrees. It's around 90 foot-pounds.
Oh, that's pretty tight.
Yeah, pretty stout bolts.
But everything's torqued to spec, even the freaking oil squirters.
Anything inside an engine gets torqued to spec, at least when I put a motor together. Just eliminates common failure points. You know,
Yep.
last thing you need is a bolt dropping down to the oil pan and, you know, a rod coming loose.
And then you got me with some Ugga Duggas and some Loctite, but to each their own.
Yep.
But no,
Their own,
this one
for
is
sure.
this one is built right. We went through this thing top to bottom, and that's just the bottom end. So got some time into that guy right there, but it is done. And then here soon we will get to getting the head and all the other accessories on there.
Yep.
Get that old girl pulled back in.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting the top end assembled on this. We got a ton of cool parts that are going on this thing, so it'll be one badass unit once it's all together. Then we'll get it in the truck, and hopefully it runs.
Yeah, see if we know what we're doing. But pretty cool. First diesel build we've had on the channel here. Not Wyatt's first, but our first. But yeah, guys, just a pretty laid back video of us getting this bottom end together for the Cummins, just one step closer, and we're hoping to have it done maybe by next week if things go smooth, but we'll see.
Yeah, it'll probably be close, but you know, we got some scheduling conflicts, but otherwise it should be in there. Maybe not running, but definitely in the truck.
We'll see.
Yeah,
But
we'll see
she'll be back up and running soon. So that's going to do it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you later.